In a world where it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real from what's fake, how can you really be sure about anything? Today, we're going to dive into a new technology that lets an actual physical object prove its own authenticity, telling a story that is literally impossible to fake.
It all kicks off with a feeling I bet you've had. You just bought something you're really excited about. You're holding it in your hands, and then this little voice in the back of your head just whispers, "Is this the real deal?" That little flicker of doubt, it's not just you being paranoid. It's a symptom of a massive global problem.
$4.5 trillion. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the estimated size of the global counterfeit market. And we're not just talking about knockoff handbags here. This is a gigantic shadow economy that just tanks brand value, cost industries billions, and in some cases, it's a serious threat to our safety.
So what this all adds up to is a genuine crisis of trust. The old ways of doing security, those flimsy little holograms and basic barcodes, they just don't cut it anymore. They're way too easy to copy, they can't keep up with the sophisticated fakes out there, and they're undermining the confidence we're supposed to have in the products we buy.
So if that old foundation of trust is basically crumbling, where do we go from here? Well, let's get into the technology that was built from the ground up for exactly this, for security and transparency, offering a completely new and frankly unshakable foundation.
Right at the heart of all this is a technology you've probably heard of, the blockchain. But what is it really? Just imagine a digital record book, okay? But instead of one book, it's copied and shared across thousands of computers. That makes it decentralized, so no single person or company owns it. And anytime you add something to it, that entry is immutable, meaning it's permanent. It can never be changed. It's basically a public record that is impossible to forge.
Okay, so we have this unbreakable record book, but how do you connect one of its records to one specific physical thing in the real world? Well, that's where an NFT comes in. And forget all the hype about digital art for a minute. In this case, an NFT is like a unique, one-of-a-kind digital certificate. The best way to think about it is as a digital passport for a product, a permanent, verifiable proof of where it came from and what it is. So, how do you give a product this digital life? The process is actually pretty slick. When an item is manufactured, its unique NFT passport gets created on the Polygon blockchain, which is a really popular network because it's fast and cheap to use. Then, a special QR code is made and it's cryptographically locked to that NFT. That just means it's secured with a digital key that only works for that specific NFT. And for you, the customer, the final step couldn't be easier. You scan the code and boom, you get the proof.
But here's what's truly a game changer. This is about so much more than just a simple, yes, it's real checkmark. This is about turning that moment of verification itself into this rich, engaging experience, a kind of living gateway into a product's real story. This side-by-side really says it all. On the left, you've got yesterday's QR code, that clunky black and white box we've all been trained to pretty much ignore. But on the right, that's what AuthieChain calls a cron code. It uses AI to turn a boring old code into a piece of scannable art. It's so cool looking you almost scan it just out of curiosity.
And this is where the magic happens. You scan that beautiful code with your regular phone camera, no special app, nothing to download, and the proof of authenticity literally springs to life. An augmented reality hologram just materializes right there on your screen, giving you this instant, powerful visual confirmation that what you're holding is, in fact, the real deal.
And this is so important. A scan unlocks way more than just a checkmark. It unlocks the product's entire journey. As the source material puts it so perfectly, AI turns history into a story you can see and trust. Where it came from, its materials, its entire life story. It all just comes to life, right there in your hands.
So that interactive experience is compelling all on its own. But what if you, the customer, were actually rewarded for taking part in this whole process? This introduces a whole new layer, basically turning every single user into a guardian of authenticity on their own personal quest for truth. The concept is called truth mining. And it's essentially this gamified system where you earn real value in the form of digital tokens called Cron just for helping to prove that a product is authentic. This completely changes your role from just a passive consumer to an active participant in keeping the whole ecosystem honest. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is pretty straightforward. You earn rewards for doing things that add value. You scan a product to verify it, you report a suspected fake and earn a bounty, you engage with the AR stories, and you can even get rewards for sharing on social media. Every little thing you do helps strengthen the network.
Now, I want to be really clear here. These are not your typical loyalty points.
Traditional points are just controlled by a company, and they can be devalued or just poof, disappear. Qron rewards, on the other hand, represent real value that comes from the system itself. And because they live on the blockchain, you actually own them. You can hold them, you can transfer them, you can trade them. They are verifiably yours.
Okay, so you might be thinking, how is a system that gives out real value sustainable? I mean, who's actually paying for all these rewards? Well, the answer is in this really clever automated business engine that powers the entire ecosystem. The whole model is a fully automated software service. Brands pay a subscription fee, using normal money, to protect their products, and at the same time, get this amazing new marketing channel. A piece of that revenue then automatically gets converted to fund the user reward pool. It creates this amazing, self-sustaining cycle where brands and their customers are directly fueling and benefiting from the system's integrity.
And when you stack this up against other QR code companies, the power of this all-in-one approach is just so clear. I mean, competitors might offer one of these features, but this system is totally unique because it combines blockchain-verified authentication, native automation, those awesome AR and AI experiences, and a built-in consumer reward system.
And for brands, the results really speak for themselves. Case studies are showing up to a 40% drop in fraud losses. They're seeing lead conversion rates as high as 65% from a simple scan. And customer engagement times are 3 times longer than with standard digital marketing. This isn't just a security tool, it's a growth engine.
And the bottom line? An almost unbelievable 17,145% potential return on investment. By cutting fraud and turning every single product into a powerful customer engagement tool at the same time, the value it creates is just enormous.
But look, this vision is so much bigger than just one product or one company. At the end of the day, this is about laying the groundwork for a whole new kind of economy, one that's built on a foundation of verifiable truth. At its absolute core, this entire system is about one central idea. In our current age of digital noise, deepfakes, and knockoffs everywhere you look, true, verifiable authenticity might just be the most valuable thing there is. It's the bedrock of trust, of loyalty, and of safety.
So now, imagine applying this beyond just luxury goods. Think about being able to verify the authenticity of life-saving medicines, or critical airplane parts, or the art hanging on a gallery wall, with just a simple scan. The implications for our safety and our confidence in things are absolutely staggering. So the final question is this: what if trust was no longer something we just had to hope for, but something we could instantly prove? What kind of world could we build on a foundation like that?